I'm just sitting here, I got time. It's clear to see from up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. A step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. You and me were meant to be outdoors, forever free. You and me, meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Good evening, Glitter Gang. Happy Thursday. My name's Kathryn, and this is Kathryn Scraps Live. And tonight we're going to continue with the Catch a Tag Remastered album, the landscape version, which is also the school version, which is also the second version. So we're going to be working on that tonight. Yeah, so this is Thursday, June 4th. It's 9 p.m. And let's see. I don't even know who was first to chat because you guys have been chatting long enough that I don't see the beginning. Which good. It's nice when there's a fun mood. But the first person I see is Bev. So hello, Bev. Hi to Fran also. And to Kathryn. I hope you're all doing well. Good evening to Donna and to Priya. Bev is working on a Bitmoji classroom for a friend of hers. Let's see. Ella is here. Hi, Ella. May, good evening or good morning. Deb, hello. How's it going? Gretchen is here. Hi, Gretchen. I hope everyone is doing well and had a great afternoon or evening. Melanie, how are you? Barbara Jean. Barbara Jean's doing well. Margaret Ann, how is it going? See, Jill is here. Hello to Jill and to Candy as well. Ellen, hello. She says hi, it's back. It's the lunchbox is back. Yes. Judy, how are you? Hello, Raquel. All right, so yes, the lunchbox is back. I decided not to be a baby. So what I'm gonna do just to see if I want to finish it is I'm gonna add paper here, and here before I like work on making any more templates or anything like that, to see if it looks enough like a lunchbox that it's worth like finishing it up and decorating it and that sort of thing. So and then depending on how it looks, I'm gonna do these two first, and if they look like hot garbage, then we will not carry on. But if they look okay, then we'll keep going and we'll see. But while I was off, wondering when it was going to stop raining, nope. Yes. Okay. Yes, while I was off wondering when it was going to stop raining, if it was going to stop raining before my pool overflows. I think there's a hurricane or a tropical storm or something. I should probably be paying attention to that, but I don't think it's coming to my part of the Gulf, so... Oh, Jill just said, have you seen the storm coming in the Gulf? Yeah. That storm, though, like, when it first got on the radar, I was like, oh, well, it's going to the Yucatan Peninsula, and then it looks like it's going inland to Mexico, so I'm just going to not worry about it. And then literally the next day, I'm going to cut this to 1 3/4. Literally the next day, I got a alert that it had turned and was headed towards I'm gonna actually, oh, I didn't come 2 inches in. What the heck? Great. So all my measurements are just like imaginary now. Yeah. So yeah, it made a complete right turn. Like it was literally going straight west, and then it turned over and was going straight north. And I was like, what? Why? Now, all it has to do is turn again and go straight east, and then it'll be my problem. So, hopefully it will not be too much of an issue for anyone, I hope. Hopefully it will just get bored. Ugh, I wish that we could just send storms to Arizona. Whenever anyone's like, it's so dry, I'm like, I wish I could give you water. I wish, because my pool's about to overflow. All right, so I'm going to ink this and glue it down. And I'm going to use I'm going to use glue because they're odd shapes. And it's just faster when something's not a rectangle to use glue. All right, so we need a little scrap of something to go right there. And I'm just going to use red polka dot. All right, so now we'll ink this. And this is mostly taped already, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in the corner that isn't taped. But I already don't like it, so I think we will probably be scrapping it, but let's add one more piece and see. I'm just gonna Oh, Barbara Jean says it looks cool. Oops. Are you guys just pretending to like it because you don't want to hurt my feelings? It's okay if you are. Well, I don't like this gap for starters, which would require me to completely remake the whole thing to fix it. But I also don't feel like it looks like enough like a lunchbox to make all this work worth it. because it was a ton of work. And it's just okay. Oh, frozen again. Oh, this camera. Oh, I will kill it. Welcome back to the Upside Down. I'm just gonna, okay. All right, let me just configure the settings, because when it does this, it can't remember what I've told it to do, because it's a jerk. Okay. Working again. All right. So, I mean, I guess it doesn't not look like a lunchbox, but it doesn't exactly look like a lunchbox. Oh my gosh, Fran. Fran said they got Holy Joes at her office today. Did you tell everyone they were Holy Joes? Well, the triangle that's missing, it's a missing, so then it's the back that's showing through. It's a missing. I'm a Mario. Okay, so let's see. All right, so we've got that. I mean, it doesn't look terrible. The biggest issue is this. Well, I mean, the problem that we have with this one is that to fix this, it has to be remade. See? So that's the problem. In other words, yes, this angle doesn't have to be 45. I just do 45 because it's easier for people who don't have angle drawing tools, because you can draw a square and cut it in half. But in order for this angle to be less shallow, to be like this, we have to add, you know, we have to, and then we have to add here. And so it's not, this one is not fixable. I would have to start over. And that is what I don't want to do. So that's where we are. So I'm going to leave this as it is. I'm not going to completely start over, especially because you get the idea. So if you want to make one, you know, just follow the steps that I did and just make this like a 20-degree angle. So, you guys are really committed to this lunchbox. Honestly, you're not fooling me. You just want me to suffer. All right. So, yeah, I mean, if you like it, you can totally make one, because at this point, it's just decorating. You know, you just add paper here, put like a name plaque, put photos and stuff inside. I mean, there's nothing else. Like, this is the structure. It's just to fix. Okay, the only thing you have to change from the way I did it this afternoon so that this doesn't happen is make this 1 inch longer. Okay? So this piece, instead of making it 4 by 10 scored at 3, make it 5 by 10 scored at 4, and then that'll solve that problem and you don't have to change anything else. You don't have to make any angle adjustments, anything. Everything else will stay the same. Every single thing I did this afternoon will still work. Just make this 1 inch longer and that'll cover that gap. So there you go. If you want to make one, you can. But yeah, all you have to do is just put a piece of pattern paper here, put a name tag there, and then on the inside just add stuff the way you normally would. So there you go. All right. Goodbye, lunchbox. Get out of here. Let me show you the idea I had for the pencil case because it's cuter anyways. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that we take a bunch of the like little embellishments that look like pencils and stuff, and we glue them all to a piece of acetate. All right. So then we glue a piece of acetate on top of that piece of acetate so that those little things are sandwiched in between. And then we can stick like photo mats in it, like it's a pouch. Doesn't that sound cute? And we can make it huge. We can make it 8 by 10. So 1, 2, we'll need 2 pieces of cardstock and 2 pieces of transparency. Where did I put it? I reorganized my paper shelf and now I can't find my transparency. Oh, here it is. All right, so I'm going to cut my transparency to like 7 3/4 by 9 3/4. 7 3/4 by 9 3/4. And I cut 2. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We can glue stuff to this wherever we want. So we're going to get some pencils, paintbrush, do a paper clip, we'll add the Believe and Achieve, this pencil, this big pencil, the scissors, maybe these glasses. Let's see what else we've got. Ooh, a calculator. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, a glue. All right. Okay. So those are all looking pretty cute. Okay. And then I think there's a couple things in here that we might want to use. Like we have that, I think the apple's too big, but I saw a little piece of ruler and here's a little flashcard. And we'll use a little ruler. All right, so we're gonna stick all this in our pencil case. Yeah, that's good enough. All right. All right. So I want to take the middles out of some of these, like these scissors. Okay, so we got the scissors done. And now I just need to do the glasses, and then I think we'll be ready to decide how we want to arrange them. These I printed, yes. So I added to this video description a link to our new tutorial, or our new album basics guide, which is the T for 3 album basics guide. This afternoon I showed the album. I did a flip through of it, and I talked about the different options and what have you. And so if you have a subscription to the archives, you can check that out. If you don't, I also did a video on YouTube for it yesterday. But now through June 19th, we will be donating 50% of our profits from that album to Campaign Zero, which is a resource for learning how to talk to your local elected officials about eliminating police violence in your area. So check out Campaign Zero. I've linked them below as well, just for your information. And I've also linked the album basics guide for the T for 3 book below as well. And Barbara said that she will be making T for 3 SVGs as well as bonus SVGs. So So those of you who have cutting machines won't have to deal with my beautiful templates. All right. So yes, check the links below for more information, or if you're watching on the video, just Google Campaign 0. And of course, kathrynscraps.com/shop for any of your album basics guide needs. Just lightly distressing kind of because I cut them out, so I want to get rid of some of the white where I can. I'm not getting too intense. If I wanted to be really crisp and clean, I would use the Sharpie. Barbara Jean says she makes SVGs at night when she needs to be quiet and not wake her hubby. Oh. I guess Barbara Jean, I was going to say her crafting is loud, but I'm guessing that it's the machine noise that bothers him, not her quietly assembling things. Fran, there's probably digital Scooby paper on Etsy. There's all kinds of stuff on Etsy. All right, so now that everything's inked enough, I'm going to start laying stuff out. And what we want it to look like is like stuff is just kind of in here randomly, but of course, in order for stuff to look random, you usually have to be pretty careful about how you stick it down. So you want some things touching each other and some things not. Because we want it to kind of have the look of stuff is just falling and floating in here. I don't think we need to believe and achieve. All right. So when I have something that's like random like this, the way that I like to glue everything together usually on pretty much most things, Vesta, although sometimes I might not if I don't have enough room or something like that. It's probably overkill. Most people use a 1/2 inch and that's probably fine. So I'm going to start by sticking things to each other. So that they're in kind of larger groupings. The more things touch, the more random they'll look. This is the Catch a Tag Remastered album, and right now we're making a pencil case because it's a school. I'm doing it as a school album. And we have also I have links to what we're doing in the video description. Okay, so now that I have two sort of embellishment clusters, now I can flip them over and add glue to the backs. And I don't need to add glue to the backs of everything, because this is going to be sandwiched. So I don't need to be perfect. Okay. Just want to keep glue off your pencil case, although I guess this glue could be leaking. That could be your excuse. All right. There we go. Okay, so there we go. Piece number 1. Okay. Now, I'm going to set this to the side for a moment. Let that dry a little bit. We're going to work on the back of the pencil case. So I'm going to take a piece of cardstock and I'm going to cut it to 10 by 12. And we're going to score. It's going to be a semi-clear pencil case. Score on the 12-inch side at 1 and 11. And then score on the 10-inch side at 1 and 9. And then we're going to cut a window out of it. And I'm going to cut that window out while it's before I burnish my score lines. So 1.5 is where I'm going to put it out, so that'll give me a 1/2-inch window on the inside. And then I'm going to cut from 8.5 to 1.5. And then I'll put it at 1.5, and I'll cut from 10.5 to 1.5. And then I'll turn it, put it at 1.5, and cut from 8.5 to 1.5. Turn it, put it at 1.5, and cut from 10.5 to 1.5. All right, and then while this is sort of still stuck in there and it's not fully cut out, now I'm gonna fold along the score lines and burnish, because it's just a little bit easier if it's not all floppy. All right. All right, now that centerpiece fell out, so we're all good. Take 3/8 inch tape and go all the, or 1/4 inch tape, it doesn't actually matter, and go all the way around the inside, in between the edge and the score line. You don't want to touch either the edge or the score line, but you want to be closer to the edge. But see how you can see a black line of cardstock? That's what you want. Okay, so now burnish, 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 peel all your tape. All right. And then take your piece of acetate that you didn't glue stuff to. So the empty one, the clean one, and glue it down. Okay, so now tape again. Okay. And remove your tape. Well, burnish. Okay. Take your pencil, peel the tape. All right. Ta-da! Okay. Now I'm all crooked, so I'm gonna have to fold back so I can cut some of it out. I'm going to use my knife. Okay. All right. So now I have this. Question is, what do I want to do with these? Do I want, how do I want to do? Okay, new plan. I'm going to put 3/8 inch tape all right next to the score lines. Okay. So all the way around the score line, 3/8 inch tape. Yes, Ella, I did. I glued them to the acetate first. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut through the corners like I normally would with any kind of pocket or frame. All right, and then I'm going to trim. Yeah, I'm going to put a colored background on it on the back. So that's what it's going to be, transparent on the front, and it's going to have a background color on the back. So I'm going to just trim right next to the tape. Okay, right next to the tape. All right, so I cut off a little more than 1/2 inch. And now I'm gonna just fold everything over. And that way I know that the acetate is totally like sandwiched and nothing's gonna catch on any part of the acetate, or, you know, when it's going in and out of the pocket. Ooh, lined notebook paper. Yes, that would be a very cute background. Or graph paper. Okay, so I've got everything in here, and now it's in its frame. And I did that because I don't want any of the acetate like getting anywhere. All right, so this is the front of the pocket now. All right, so like if we were making just like any pocket we would make, this is the front. So this is what we're going to attach the back to, and then stuff will go down inside. And then what you put in it will show through these objects. So it'll be like the photos are in the pencil case, just rattling around with all of these goodies. Okay? Isn't this better than the lunchbox? Isn't it? Because not all, it's easier. It's easier. Look how many embellishments we got to use too. All right. So then I think the answer is we'll take another piece, we'll cut it the same way as this, only we'll leave like the back solid. So we'll cut out, we'll cut it, you know, 10 by 12. We'll do 3/8 inch tape all the way around, and then we'll stick it to this. And to that piece of black cardstock, we'll stick a piece of notebook paper. All right, yeah, the lunchbox got 86. I mean, it was going nowhere at the speed of light. You could also use this paper if you wanted it to look even more jumbly, but that might look too jumbly. You know, you might be like, whoa, that's a lot. That's a lot going on there with my eyeballs. They're stressed now. Thanks a lot. So what have we got? So we've got this, that's very busy. So I don't think we'll do that one. So let's get the little ruler paper. I know I have one in here somewhere. Yeah, you want to relax your eyeballs sometimes, you know. Here it is. Ah, it even looks like it's inside because the 2 layers of acetate have like a deadening effect on the, like, see how much duller the paper looks? So it looks like it's actually in there. How cute. How cute. Okay. All right, so actually I don't have to do a 10 by 12. I can do it 9 by 11. And score at 1/2 inch. So this is a 9 by 11, score at 1/2 inch, because we're gonna cut off more than 1/2 inch anyway. Score at 1/2 inch and 10.5 inches. Gretchen says now I need to make something where I need a pencil case. That's always the way when you're like, oh my gosh, that's so cute, but I have no use for it whatsoever, but it's so cute, but I have no use for it whatsoever. All right, so fold along all the score lines and burnish. If you make it, they will come, exactly. Okay, now the only difference is this time we're going to put the tape on the flaps on this side. So it's the opposite side of the other one. So, oh, actually, and I'm going to cut the top off because actually this one needs to open. Oh, no, I have an idea. Never mind. I'm not going to cut the top off. One of them, put it underneath. All the rest of them, put it on top. All right. That way, both edges will be rolled. Both edges will be rolled. And that'll give it a really finished look. Okay, so now we're having ideas for other pencil cases. So Melanie said you could do mermaids and coral and shells with a water and kelp with a water backing. Oh my gosh, yes. Or like, well, no, I don't have any other ideas. If you did one for kids, you could do like all different toys, like it was like you were jumbling around in a toy box. Or like baby blocks and like a little rocking horse. All right. So I'm gonna now trim it, or I'm gonna cut the corners. And this corner I'm gonna cut a little bit different. The one where it's on the inside. I'm gonna just notch the corners of that one, you know, where I just remove the score lines. And then these two I'm going to cut through. Okay. Oh, a memorabilia box. Or you could make it look like a hope chest. Or you could make it look like a garden with like flowers and vines and butterflies. Oh yeah, snowy with trees. Or like Christmas, you could do like a tree on one side and like presents on the other. Okay, so this top one is just gonna get folded over. Okay, just like this. And that's gonna be on the inside. So then these three will fold up like this, and they're what are going to get stuck to the pencil case so that it's all good. All right, so I'm going to flatten the two sides out so that I'm just lining up this bottom piece, just to make it a little easier on myself. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up with the top. And then kind of shove that underneath and then press side to side. Okay. Then I can pull in the sides. I'm going to burnish them really well. Oh, before I stick these down, let me make life easier on myself and put the paper in. So, I mean, I could slide it down, but let's just do it easy and let's not. So the whole pocket is 8 by 10. So we'll make the line paper 7 3/4 by 9 3/4. And then we can just stick it, we'll just stick it right down, just like this. I know, why would we do the easy thing? Why would we ever do the easy thing? Oh my gosh. Okay, so now all I have to do is stick this down. All right. So now that we've got that in place, and I glued it because it's a pocket, so that gives it a little bit less likely to, you know, have stuff get caught on it or knock on it or whatever. All right, so now I can push in my two sides, burnish them and peel their tape. And then I'm going to make sure that the center is flat, and then tuck in the sides and press. Okay. Oh my gosh. And then it's a full pouch. See? It's a full pouch. So there's our pencil pouch. Yay! A lot easier than the lunchbox. I know, and still so cute. Plus, much more applicable to your other projects. The only problem with it is it's just an insert. So we still have to, like, we have to make stuff to go in it. So we're not done. Like, there's no way to do photos. But like, the good thing about this is we don't have to get fancy. You can just stick, you know, like 1, 2, let's do 3. Well, no, let's do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do a 5x7 pinwheel. So ooh, you can make a candy one or like a popcorn for a movie. Yeah, the insert needs inserts. And then maybe the inserts we put in the insert can have inserts. And then we'll just do inserts and inserts and inserts. Ah! The pouch is interactive because you have to take stuff in and out of it. And it's going in a folder, which is also interactive. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna stamp these, and I'm gonna get my black ink, because that's what we've been using. All right. So we'll have some portrait and some landscape. I guess I need more photo mats than this because we have if we do 4 of the 6.5, I'll need, how many of these? I'll need 8 of those. I'll need 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And then for the other pocket, we're gonna make, well, you guys can choose if you want to make a tiny manila envelope, like what a report card would be in, and then we'll do an insert for that. Or if you want to make a tiny peachy. The only thing about making a tiny peachy is then we have a folder in a folder. But if you guys want to do a tiny peachy, we'll do a tiny peachy. So let me know if you want to do a report card or a tiny peachy. Let's see. If you want to do a report card, type an A for A plus. And if you want to do a peachy, type a P for peachy. So. All right. And then while you guys are voting, I'm going to go cut these down to 6.5 by 4.5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to tape these now. Report cards are winning. So we'll probably be doing that. Priya's trying to vote for everything at once. All right. Well, we have 3 folders in the book, so we have 6 pockets in the book. So what we'll do is we'll make a report card, and then, well, we'll make like, you know, we'll make a small manila envelope, and we'll write report card on it. And then inside it, we'll make a photo insert. And then we'll do a tiny peachy in the next one, because we do have 4 more pockets to fill after these 2. So we can do a tiny peachy. Tiny peachy. And we'll put a peachy in our peachy, and we'll fill it with a peachy, and it'll be like Matryoshka dolls. Peachy, peachy, peachy. It's one of those words that the more you say it, the less it sounds like actual words and more like just gibberish. Okay. All right, almost done. Now I want cheese twisties. Sage now. Sage wants to watch James and the Giant Peach. You want to eat like drink a peach smoothie while you're doing it? Wear your peach PJs. All right, so we've got these all taped. Fran's got some. Priya has some peaches in her fridge. Eat them, Priya, eat them. Peach cobbler with peach ice cream and caramel sauce. I actually really want a peach now, so thanks a lot, guys. You have a peach tree? I'm so jealous. Back when we lived in California, we had a peach tree and a fig tree. Although I don't really particularly love figs anymore because when I was in Israel, I ate so many figs and dates that I've just never wanted one ever again. I just have never felt the need to eat any of those ever again. And I learned that figs aren't vegan. There's no such thing as a vegan fig. Why aren't figs vegan? So figs are pollinated by this special kind of tiny wasp, and they live in the figs, and they're still in the figs when the figs are harvested. So when you eat a fig, you're eating tiny wasps as well, and so that's why they're not vegan. Friends like, isn't it a fruit though? Yes, it is a fruit. It is a fruit, but you can't eat it without also eating eating a tiny wasp. Still gonna eat it. Yum. You need all your servings of tiny wasps. I'm gonna make all of these, but I think I'm only gonna put these 2 vertical ones in there because that's still 4 photos, which is a lot. But does it have a face? I mean, wasps have faces. More protein. Ooh, you have lychee? I love lychee. When I lived in Miami, walking distance from my house was a Spanish sandwich shop, and they made the most delicious sandwiches with some kind of Spanish ham and manchego. They were really salty, and they had lychee, some kind of lychee drink where they would jelly the lychee fruit, and so there were chunks of it, and they gave you a straw like for a bubble tea, and the chunks of the lychee would come up through the straw. I loved it. Salty ham and cheese sandwich and lychee. All right. So then your photos will be back in there. So your kids' faces will be floating around in the pouch as well. Lychee. I mean, it's probably lychee. I call them lychees, but I'm not a word scientist. As we all know, I speak 0.5 languages. I almost speak English. I almost speak English. The other day, a friend of mine and I were talking about how dumb English is. So, and we were talking about, okay, so a few years back, and if you're a teacher, you may remember this, but a few years back, it got really trendy for teachers in the US to go to Finland to learn about their schools, because Finland was number one. I mean, they probably still are, but frequently the number one school system in the world and the number two school system in the world are Finland and South Korea, and they kind of take turns who's going to be number one. And so Finland, people would go to Finland to learn about their schools. And then there was this drive in the US not to have homework because they don't have homework in Finland. Now, they don't have, in South Korea, they have tons of homework. So that's not consistent between the two languages, or between the two school systems. But I did read this really interesting article about what is consistent between the two school systems. So like what they do in Finland that they also do in South Korea. And one of the things they pointed out is that both Finnish and Korean are relatively easy languages to learn, like as a native speaker. And by the time they get to school, kids in Finland can totally speak Finnish and read and write Finnish. And same with South Koreans. They can totally speak Korean and read and write Korean. And so they don't devote much of their school day to learning their own language. Whereas in the United States, you devote like an hour of your school day for 12 years to learning your own language because of how dumb it is. So just think about that. Just think about how many hours you devote to learning your own language in school. I kind of am curious about durian, because a lot of this stuff it gets compared to I like, but then when people say it smells like fruity rotting stuff, I'm like, maybe I don't want to try it. But then they're like, it's like this tastes like this kind of cheese, like a fruity version of this cheese, and I'm like, well, I like that cheese and I like fruit, so maybe I would like it. So I don't know. I'm on the fence. I also don't know where I would get a durian. Like, I'm sure I could figure it out if I applied myself, but like off the top of my head, I don't know where I would get a durian. So, but yeah, it is because of all the stupid rules. Like, this one person posted, my boyfriend is not a native English speaker. He's trying to learn. He just asked me what the past tense of cut was, and I told him it was cut, and he screamed and fell down on the floor. And I was like, that does sound terrible. That does sound terrible. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how horrifying it must be to try and learn English as a second language? I can't even, because I think of all the stupid stuff that I know, like that do and bow and through all end in OUGH, but I know how to pronounce each one. But like if I was trying to learn English I mean, that's not even phonics. Like, that's just made up garbage. It's just made up garbage. And then there's these two. So you've got desert, like I'm going to go for a walk in the desert. And then you have dessert, like I'm going to desert my post. It's the same word. The pronunciation's the same. It's just, where do you put the emphasis? Like, how do you learn that? Just, I mean, come on. It's just like, it's like a crime. We're doing crimes against humanity with this language. So, and then you have dessert, like the thing you eat after dinner. Exactly. No, those two both only have one S. That's my point. Dessert, like dessert your post, and desert, like the thing you walk around in, each only have one S. And then you have dessert with two S's, which is the thing you eat after dinner. So you have dessert, like I'm going to desert my post and go AWOL. You have desert, like the Mojave Desert is hot. And then you have dessert with two S's, which is like, I like to have pudding for dessert. Gretchen's like, I got it, but dessert is the important one. You forgot the important one. I was like, oh yes, I did forget the important one. That's true. I get it. So yeah, it's just really horrible. It's just like all the stuff that you just kind of know. Deer is horror. Yeah, deer. There's tons of them. I mean, they're so hard. It's so hard. And like someone was talking about how horrifying and horrible, right? Horror, horrifying, and horrible, they all mean bad, right? But then you have terror, terrifying, and terrific. And terrific means great. And terrible means bad. Or 222. And here's one that'll like bake your noodle. I'm about to say a sentence that you can't write down, which is, in English, there's 3 ways to spell two. You can't even write that. Just try to write it and have it make sense. All right. So, yeah, we have to devote so much brain space to all that that's why we're bad at math as a society. Because of all the brain space we have to devote to all this stuff. Okay, that's what I'm going to go with. That's my excuse. My excuse. See, I told you I speak 0.5 languages. I almost speak English. Okay, so here's our adorable pencil case going in the pocket. Yay! Okay. How cute. 4, 4, and 4. Yes. Oh my gosh. And then there's stuff you find out late in life that just upsets you. Like, I found out that fort, F-O-R-T-E, that word, is pronounced fort. But we all say forte in the US. But it's actually fort. And I was like, what? No. So that ruined my week, the week I found it out. You thought you were bad at math because you're female? No, it's just because you had to learn English. Yeah, like some dictionaries have it as fort or forte, but it's fort. It's fort because it's French and they add extra letters that they don't need. We scratched the lunchbox. Fort is the French. Oh my gosh, I have to stop. Fort is the French. And then forte is like, to be fancy, we added, because we thought the E must be there for a reason. But the French have letters they don't use a lot of the time. I failed like the one semester of French I took in college, just so you know. So, like, but one thing I do remember from French is that there were a lot of extra letters, and I never quite figured out what was going on with them. So, I mean, Fran refuses to accept fort. Well, you have to say forte, right? Because if you say it's not my fort, the other person talking to you will think you're wrong, but you're actually right. So then you have to be like, no, like that. If they correct you, then you have to correct them, and then it's just really awkward. Just look at the way the French pronounce we. Well, and I see voila all the time. Voila, you know, that starts with a V. So, yeah, well, like, I don't go around, when people say forte, it's not like I'm like, it's fort, actually. But it's just like, because you just have to say, forte. You know, I reject your reality and insert my own. Yeah, you can't. It's just too hard. Like, that was horrible. That one was really upsetting. But yeah, like, voila is a V. Voila. All right, so now we're going to put something in here. Oh my gosh, this is so cute, though. Okay. The English leave out the medial R and then add it onto the... Yeah, idea is another one. This is like an East Coast thing, I hear. I identify it with East Coast people. When people say idea, it's like when they add that R to the end of idea. I know that's a regional thing, but that's like, what if you were trying to learn English in that area? Then you would be like, what is happening now? You identify that as a Southern thing? I wonder if it's like pockets. Because like one person I knew who said it was born and raised in DC. So maybe it's just, who knows? I guess although DC is like Southern adjacent, so, but yeah, I don't know. So anyways, this is our problem. We need to get a new language, and we just say, like, we make a cutoff date for it, like we did with the metric system. Yes, warsh instead of wash. The person who I knew who said idea also said warsh. Yeah, like we can just do like we did with the metric system, where we pretend we're converting over to some other language, and like something easy. What's that one? Esperanza? Is that the one that's supposed to be like the easy universal language? Maybe we just go to that. Kimberly Brown says she says warsh. Okay, and then I know Philly is wada for water. We can just go to Pig Latin, honestly. It's probably fine. People laugh. Well, that's just rude. They should not laugh. Kimberly, you should go around saying fort, and then when they correct you, you can correct them as revenge. Okay. All right, now. We're going to make a little manila folder for this to put like, and we're going to like write report card on it, something like that. Okay. So I don't know. I didn't plan for this to be Kathryn Bash's English for 20 minutes, but you know what? Sure. Oh, Boston. Yeah. The ah, and then the Midwest has the A, where they drag out the A, they flatten the A out. Kansas. And I have picked up a little of that from my mom, but only people from the Midwest recognize it. So sometimes people from the Midwest will ask me if I have a parent from the Midwest, because they hear it a little bit, but not that much. It deserves to be bashed. It's true. It's true. All right. Yeah, we should just like... All right, let's see. Let's make... You want to make a Holy Joe? Like a little baby? A little baby Holy Joe? We could... Okay, I'm going to have to math, though. I need to math. Okay. All right, so... I want to be able to get 3 holes. I want this to be 2.5, the flap, and the whole thing will be 10. And then we'll make it 8. We'll make it 8 by 10. So the pieces are... Gretchen says it's okay, no one's going to be able to communicate with anyone else soon. A tar. Okay, so let's see. So we need 2 pieces that are 5.5 wide. Like, that's to be the sides. We want like 1.5 inches down from the top. So if we want to do 1.5 inches down from the top, then that would be 6.5 plus 1 inch, though 7.5. So 2 5.5 by 7.5 inch pieces. That's this and this. And then we need one that's 8 inches by 3.5 inches to be that's the flap. And then we need the back, which is actually, instead of doing this 3.5, let's make it 11.5. Oh no, we can't. It's still 3.5. Ignore that one. It's not 13.5. Ignore it. Ignore it. Ignore it. And then for the back, the back is just 8 by 10. So we need one that's 8 by 10 for the back. All right. So that's these. All right. Back to the peaches. Yeah, but let's just go back to the peaches. Let's just go back. The Constitution is so tiny. Why did they make it so tiny? The paper was expensive. I hold my pencil wrong. I hold it on my middle finger. I rest it on my middle finger. It drove my mom completely bananas growing up. Okay. All right, I'm going to go cut all these pieces. Okay. Oh, this one is wrong. The one that's 5.5 by 7.5. It's not 5.5 by 7.5. It's 5.5 by 9.5. 9.5. 5.5 by 9.5. Just kidding. All right. So I've got all my pieces. So let's score some of them. All right, so this is the 8" by 3.5" one. So you score that on the 3.5" side at 2.5. You're not alone in people that hold pencils on their ring fingers. And then this is one of the 5.5" by 9.5" ones. On the 5.5" side, score it at 4.5. And then one of them, you're going to turn it so the score line's at the top and score it 8.5. And then the other one, do the same thing, score it at 4.5. But this one, you turn it so the score line's at the bottom and score it at 8.5. And that way the lines intersect in opposite corners. See? So one of them, the intersection's on the left, and one of them, the intersection's on the right, and that's what you want. You're supposed to rest your pencil on your middle finger. So you rest your pencil on your middle finger, and then you control it with your first finger and thumb. But I rest it on my middle finger, and I pinch it between I rest it on my ring finger and I pinch it between my middle finger and my thumb, and my first finger is not used. It's just hanging out. It's just sitting there. So this is how you're supposed to hold it, but this is how I hold it. So my first finger is just, I don't use it. So when I control pencil, all my control is in my middle finger. So if I try to use my forefinger, it's very hard. Like, I find it harder to write. My writing's not as neat because the muscles in this, well, fingers don't have muscles. There's another weird thing you learned today. But like, it's just, I don't have the same hand-eye coordination with this one as I do with this one. Fold along all the, no, fingers don't have muscles. Fingers don't have muscles. Welcome to Kathryn Ruins Your Life. Welcome to Kathryn Ruins Your Life. By telling you stuff that you never wanted to know. All right, so I'm gonna draw a pencil line 1 inch down, up from the bottom. I always learn things on Thursdays. Are the things you learn on Thursdays useful to your life? No. But do you still learn them? Yes. Like, you learned that for FORTE, they have like tendons and ligaments that connect to the hand muscles. So when you move your fingers, you're actually using your hand. If I understand, look, I'm not a hand scientist, but if I understand it correctly, when you are moving your fingers, technically you're using hand muscles to pull on the tendons and ligaments to move the joints in your fingers. But your fingers don't have finger muscles. There's no finger muscles. So when you do this, like you're actually using that your hand is doing it. This is stuff you learn when you hurt your hands. Exactly. If you hurt your hands a lot, like I do, you learn that you have no finger muscles. You have no finger muscles, and I was just like, so my feet. All right, so now I'm gonna. Okay, so I drew a line down the center of this, which is 4 inches because it's 8 inches, and an inch up from the edge, and then I'm going to connect this to this so that we have a point. And then by connect, I mean cut, which is basically the opposite of connect. That explains why I have trouble opening jars. Yes, it's all about hand strength. We just need to punch more people. Oh, man. Throat punching is a go. There you go. Yes, exactly. Exactly. All right. So, but yeah. So this Ella says she knew that she didn't have finger muscles, and she learned it by hurting her hand. Yeah, that's what you learn it by when you hurt your hand, and they're explaining like what is all going on inside your skin, under your skin, but like the muscles stop like right around here. So yeah, it's up from here up. It's just skin over like connective tissue and bones. All right, so now how do I want to do? Okay, so with this, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attach them to each other first. Yeah, I first learned about ligaments and tendons when I tore the ligament in this thumb, and actually found out that the tear for the ligament in this thumb was in my wrist, because like the thumb is controlled like all the way down here, which I learned when I tore the ligament that controls this thumb. Like it's long, it goes like all the way down to your wrist. And then when I tore this one, I tore the ligament here, and that's actually where it attaches. The ligament that attaches to the thumb here, I tore that one off the bone, and it was just like hanging around in there. and my thumb, you can see like my thumb is crooked. My thumb sent out like a calcium bridge to where the ligament was, and it tore a chip, the ligament tore a chip of bone off my thumb when it ripped off. And so it reconnected it with this calcium bridge, which if you think about it is incredibly cool. Except my thumb is also not a hand scientist because it didn't put it back in the right spot, which is why my thumb is twisted like this. So all right, so I put a line of tape on the top of this one, and I'm going to put a line of tape on the inside of this one. So Sage's pinky is connected to her ring finger. Yeah, it's interesting what they do to fix your hands and stuff. I saw once where someone they lost the nerve that controls the thumb. So the doctors took the nerve that controls the middle finger, because this is the finger you, or no, was it the ring finger? Whichever one is like the weakest one that you don't use that much, one of these two, and they moved it. They just dragged it off of that finger and stuck it to the thumb. And that person had to relearn that when they wanted to think about moving their middle finger to move their thumb. That was really interesting. Okay, so I'm going to peel the tape. Yeah, I mean, my thumb probably would have healed properly if I'd gone to the doctor and they had set it, because they are hand scientists. But, whatever. I had exams to do, so I wrote all my exams with a broken hand. And then I went to the doctor once we got let out on break, and my doctor was like, so it's just too bad for you. Because you're done, and your thumb is never gonna work right again. And I was like, cool. All right, I'm gonna fold it over. I don't know, I'm like struggling here for some reason. And then line this one up with the 8. I did pass all those exams, so it was worth it. But see, that's why I always say college students are morons, because like an actual functional adult human would know that you can just tell your professors you broke your hand, and then they would find you an alternative, So, you know what I mean? So, all right, so I made a slit there, and I'm going to remove this extra little flap of paper that we don't need. But the reason that I made that decision is because when I broke this one, it was the week I had to take the AP Modern European History exam, they don't even give it anymore, but back when they gave it, it was like notoriously difficult to pass. And even with my non-dominant hand being in a cast, it was very difficult to write the essays. So that's why I decided not to use my broken hand. And look what I'm doing with my degree. My professors would be so proud. You know, they emailed me, the alumni group emailed me because they're looking for alumni to talk to talk to the students about careers, and I just deleted it. But like, I should totally have been, I should totally have been like, let me tell you how to have a successful YouTube crafting career, fellow students, fellow kids. I'm sure that's why you just took on $250,000 worth of debt. So you can do that. All right, so I took an inch, I drew a line an inch down from the top, and now I'm gonna draw a line down the center. Same as before. All right. And then in this case, we're going to go from this point to the score line. Okay, so we're going from the low point to the score line. So this time I'm going to have to use a ruler. And I also have so yeah, now you've learned a lot. Okay, so we've got that and that. You know what peaches are. So now we need to make our holes for our Holy Joe. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 inches. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide 7.5 by 4. Let me get the calculator. Here we have our calculator. Okay, 1 7/8. Okay, so what this means is we need to put a hole every 1 7/8 in order to have 3 holes in our Holy Joe. So I'm going to put 1 7/8 inch line on the score line. And I'm going to go all the way across with that line. This is all on the inside, so. All right, 1 7/8. Then I'm going to put 1 7/8 on the line I just drew. And then I'm going to put 1 7/8 on the line I just drew. And so we'll have a hole here, and a hole. No, these are not evenly spaced. So I'm going to erase the line I just drew. Oh no, I should have divided it by 3. That's my See, I divided it by 4 because I was like, if I divide it by 3, then there'll be... No, yeah, no, 1 7/8 is correct. Okay. Probably. It's probably correct. Yeah. So there'll be a hole here, and a hole here. Yeah, those are fine. Okay. So now this is 8 inches across. So we're going to divide that by 3, which is going to be an annoying amount. Oh, 2 2/3. Yeah, that's horribly annoying. 2/3 is 4/8. No, 4/6. Or let's just say it's 2 3/4. 2 3/4. So, well, let's do in between 2 3/4, 2 5/8. Let's do 2 5/8. Yeah, 5/8. 3/4 is 6/8. Yeah, 2 5/8. I'm going to do 2 5/8 from the score line. So I'm going to put my 2 5/8 inch mark on the score line. Okay. Is that going to be, is that what I want? No, that's way too far in, it seems like. Oh, I'm making this way too hard. If I want 2 lines of holes and this thing is 8, I'm just going to come in 2 inches. And there'll be 2 inches in from this edge and 2 inches in from this edge, and they'll be 4 inches apart, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's what I want. Just put your just do 2 inches. Make it easy on yourself. All right. All right. So the holes are going to go here, here, and here, 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 and here. All right. That's where the holes are going to go. So, of course, we have this problem where in order to put holes there, we have to slice the envelope. So, because I can't get a hole punch like in the edge, that's going to be a large hole punch. Like if we want to do, I don't know. Do you want to do, I'm going to do 1/4 inch. Because I think anything smaller than 1/4 inch is no fun for a Holy Joe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a slit a 1/2 inch over from where I drew the hole lines. And I'm going to do it a 1/2 inch towards the outside. So we're just going to cut through all 3 of them. And then just flip it over and cut through all 3 of them. Okay, that wasn't a straight line, but whatever. Big Bite has a 6 inch reach, but it's only 3/8 of an inch. And I don't love the way it looks. The cats are screaming. By the cats, I mean Kitty and Mittens. You could just do the Big Bite if you want to make your life easier. But I like the big hole. The bigger hole. Because then it's a lot easier to see that it is a hole, that it's an opening. And then you just line up the intersection of those 2 lines and punch. Okay? And then once you've done that, just burnish. Okay? Burnish where you just were and then cover this with tape. Oh, of a mini Holy Joe? Yeah. And you're just going to tape it shut. I really wish Kitty and Mittens would just become friends. All right. So there's those holes. And then what we'll do is, yeah, I mean, those are even kind of on the tiny side. You could even a 1/2 inch you could do. But since I already taped that, I'm going to leave it at 1/4 inch. Yeah, May, it's a kind of interoffice mailer. Like larger companies that are on more than one floor, where it's not so easy to just walk something down to another department, use them. But schools use them also to send stuff home with the kids and have the parents sign that they received it. Although schools probably email now. I wonder if they send stuff home anymore. Although I guess having the parents sign that they received it is probably like a useful thing, even because email is more easily overlooked. Okay. All right, so we've got our rows of holes. So what we're going to do is we are going to make a template for this. So I'm just going to cut a piece of scrap cardstock. And some parents probably don't have email yet. Okay, so it's 8, yeah, it's 8.5. All right, so I need a scrap that's 8 1/4 by 8 1/4 by 7 3/4. Okay. Well, I obviously did not cut this to 8 1/4 by 7 3/4. I think I cut it to 7 1/4. Ugh. Well, and I know that in more rural areas, like, even if you can afford internet, it's just the infrastructure is not there. All right, I'm just gonna cut this to the actual right size. All right, cool. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to line it up. I'm going to make this a template in case we make more of these. And we're going to do a couple things. We're going to mark this V. And all these holes. All right. And then with the V, I'm going to cut 1/8 of an inch down from that on the template, because you know you want 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And then with the holes, I'm going to punch them out with a 1/2 inch. Wow, this is like wildly crooked. Oh well, whatever. Okay. All right, so with these, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to draw a line, or cut a line 1/2 inch over. And then we're going to cut them out with the 1/2 inch hole punch. So I'm just going to line it up and punch. And then this will be the template for all of the pattern papers for these envelopes. That way, if I want... Oh my gosh, Donna, yes, the tree frogs have been so loud. They've been so excited about the rain too. They've just been going bananas. All right, and then same thing, I'm just gonna burnish these and tape them shut. And then this is the template for the pattern paper. So when I go to do the pattern paper to put it on this pocket, all I have to do is trace this and we're all good. All right, so we've got that. So when I say that this is the template for this, this is what I mean. So this goes on top of this. And that's how we cut the pattern paper. And then you see that we framed the holes. So that's what we were doing. At least you don't have snakes or gators. Well, and it's funny because when we were rescuing Kitty from the neighbor's yard against her will, the neighbor was like, oh, be careful, we've been doing construction, so there's been tons of snake skins everywhere, so we think we woke up like a nest of snakes. And I was like, great, no wonder Kitty's in your yard. I'm sure she's snake hunting right now. You know. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to do this as one piece, I think. So I'm going to put tape all the way around the edge of this and stick it down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this all constructed in terms of the cardstock, and then I am going to we'll just save this template and do next week. We'll start with the decorating for this. We'll start with we'll decorate this, we'll make an insert for it, and then we'll start page style A2. So I'll get it all constructed. Or do you want to do, you know, half and half? Do you want to have the black line running down the middle like on this? Like that? Or what do you want to do? Oh, we still have to make an insert for this. Well, we'll solve that next week. All right, so what I'm going to do is you want to do a line? Okay. So I need to leave this apart to do the line because we've got to do one on this side and one on that side. So what I'm going to do is I will start here next week. What we'll do is we'll pull this up so we can add a paneled paper here and a paneled paper here, and then we'll stick it back together. And then we'll line it, do the flap, and do all that. So I'm going to take all the pieces and parts, and I'm going to put them in the folder, and this is where we'll start next week. We'll finish this off. We'll make a cute insert for it. I know, it's after 11 already. Isn't that crazy? All right. So everybody go in the pocket. They'll be waiting for us next week. We'll start there. We'll finish that off. And then we'll make the insert for this pocket because this is also a pocket. But let's just take another moment to admire our super cute pencil pouch. How cute is our pencil pouch? And so you could stick anything in there. You could stick photo mats like I did, but you could also stick memorabilia, actual report cards, anything really. And then this folder closes up with this flap. So when it's shut, it just looks like that envelope, like a manila envelope. So, all right. Thanks so much for joining me this week, everyone. Be sure to check the video description for links to the Facebook group, to this tutorial, to the T for 3 tutorial. Remember, between now through June 19th, 50% of the T for 3 tutorial profits will go to Campaign Zero to help end police violence in your community and in America. Learn more. Go to their website. I have it linked below as well, or just Google Campaign Zero. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. And I will see you next Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern USA time. And we will continue on with this book. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.